Hi everyone, it's Brittany. Today I am going to be sharing some client experiences, and I should say clients and just some of you guys who watch my videos. So, as always, I'm just going to be reading from my laptop, which is right over here. So when you see me looking over there, that's why. Before I get into it though, I just want to remind you guys, I'm going to be reading these emails word for word, the words of the people who sent them to me. And I just want to make it clear that none of these emails are giving you a step-by-step process. So even if it sounds like that to the mind, that's not what this is about. This is really about recognition, seeing directly for yourself what it is that you're not really, so that all you're left with is what you have always been. Awareness. I am. God, source. Whatever you want to call it does not matter. But that's the whole point of all of these emails. So I know the mind might do what it does, which is try to figure out a process, but that's not what any of this is about. So with that being said, let me go ahead and get started. All right. Hi, Brittany. Hi. I just wanted to share something incredible that I've experienced just from watching your videos. I've spent years trying to fix my husband. I always thought if he changed and behaved the way I wanted him to, I'd finally feel at peace. Over the last few months, something naturally shifted in me. I remembered the video where you spoke about how you no longer let anyone be responsible for how you felt. Yeah, that really stuck with me. And so I simply stopped making my husband responsible for how I felt. I wasn't even waiting for him to change, but our relationship became so much easier and lighter. We laugh so much together and truly just enjoy each other's company. Even when he does something that used to bother me, it passes very quickly. It's so crazy because I didn't work on the relationship and I completely stopped working on me. Yet, that's where everything changed. Thank you so much for all that you do with your videos. I know it must not be easy to share a message that goes against what a lot of people in this community say, but I'm so grateful that you do. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And I just want to say, that's really my whole point, is that this is not about working on yourself, working on relationships, working on beliefs. It's nothing about that. It's really about relaxing and seeing that none of this was ever about doing anything. It's really about existing and not attaching yourself to any sort of definition or story. Okay. All right, next one. Hi, Brittany. I honestly don't even know how to explain this. 4 months ago, I was convinced my life was over. My wife had asked for a separation. She ended up moving in with her mom and she took the kids with her. I was having panic attacks almost daily and I couldn't imagine ever feeling okay again. You kept saying in your videos not to fix the character. To be honest, I hated hearing that because all I wanted was to fix my life. Totally understand. I even tried doing affirmations and sats, and of course it just made everything worse. I got to a point where I realized there was absolutely nothing that I could do. I stopped trying to change the circumstances and just kept noticing every thought that claimed I was a failure. I let it all be there, but like you said, I didn't let it define me. Everything slowly started to change. My wife and kids came home over a little a month my wife and kids came home a little over a month ago. We aren't even working on the marriage. We're just happy again. The panic attacks disappeared. My kids keep telling me how glad they are that our house feels happy again. Oh my God, that's so sweet. If you had told me 6 months ago this would be my life, I would have never believed you. Now, it honestly just feels natural. Thank you so much for listening and for all of your videos. They help more than you know. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Hi, Brittany. I hope you're doing well. We had a session about how I was trying to find a new job because I was very unhappy where I was working. I told you I'd been applying for months and never got one call back. Well, after we had our session, I decided to apply for a position I wasn't even qualified for. On paper, I had absolutely no chance. Every time my mind said, "This is ridiculous, you're never going to get this job," I just noticed it and moved on with my life. 10 days later, and they called. Not only did they offer me the job without any sort of formal interview, they created an entirely new position around my experience. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. It's been a few months there now, and I could not be happier. Oh, and I don't know if you remember that money was a big issue for me, but this job pays more than I've ever made before. So much so that I never need to worry about money. The funniest part is that getting the job isn't even what changed my life. Yes, the money is nice, and yes, I truly enjoy going to work every day. But the real change was that the character who desperately needed all of this disappeared long before the offer came. And that was where the peace was for me. Thank you so much for everything. I love that. See, things can happen in ways that the mind can really never predict. And that is so fun. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, next one. Hey, Britt. Thanks again for our chat the other day. I just wanted to share something I've noticed because it's actually been pretty funny. I've become much more aware of how many little loops were sneaking in that I didn't even realize I was energizing. Now, whenever a thought comes up, I just say, "Interesting," and I leave it alone. It's amazing how quickly it loses its grip. It's almost like a petulant child. If I don't feed it, it just wanders off. The past 4 days have felt really different. I've been pretty meticulous about staying as awareness, and the thoughts have started to quiet down. There's much less pressure to do something, go somewhere, achieve something, or think I should be doing more. It's been surprisingly peaceful, especially given the character's past, which I know isn't real, has been largely a chaotic nightmare. So he was used to controlling, maintaining, and watching for threats. Anywho, I started a brand new Facebook account, and the first video I posted ended up going viral. It's at around 150,000 views already, with hundreds of shares and a huge discussion in the comments. Over 500 shares, etc. It's been 24 hours. Amazing. What's interesting is that I didn't have the old reaction. There wasn't any, "Oh my God, yes, it's working," or excitement that I needed to hold on to. It just felt normal. Guys, this sounds like a theme here. Almost like, yeah, of course. Not from an ego place, but just because it felt like the scene naturally unfolding. The one that I had wanted to unfold for months. Even when I read negative comments, I didn't think they were happening to me. I was just like, oh, look at consciousness breaking off into parts to fight with each other. Cute. It would almost be weird if it didn't. It's funny when people get scared of AI, and I'm thinking, bro, it's always been AI. Anyway, feel free to share anything. Thank you. And guys, I just want to say, this is one of my clients who actually said I could share his name as well. And because his email is all centered around this, honestly, he is an amazing artist. His name is Jordan Power. He has a Spotify. So if any of you guys are interested, you should go check out his music. He is amazing and I love him. Thank you so much for allowing me to share, Jordan. All right, next one. Okay. Hi, Brittany. I hope everything is well. I want to give you a success story. So I was in college and it was my last semester. I had a really tough course that I had to take because it was a core course. On top of that, the professor was really, really strict. I didn't participate in that class at all, but class participation was 20% of my overall grade. So I knew I was screwed. Moreover, I wasn't attending all of my classes because my character was going through one of the worst times and was in depression. I also effed up the only quiz in this course. Even worse, the professor himself called me into his office and told me that if I didn't ace my final, which was worth 45%, I would fail the course. He explicitly said that I was closer to failing than passing. And lo and behold, I effed up the final too, even though I had studied so much for it. There were 4 questions and I couldn't answer one of them. And I got another one wrong, so I only did 2 questions right. I cried so much after the exam because I thought I had messed up everything and that I wouldn't be able to graduate or graduate on time. But then I was like, no, this is not my story. This is the character story, not mine. I did not decide anything. I just remembered myself as Source, and that as Source, I have everything. I'm not going to say it was easy. It was hella difficult. My character had so many low days when I was like, I'm not doing it right, this won't help, and so many other thoughts like that. But I just noticed those thoughts and feelings that were coming up. So I checked today and I passed the course and all my other courses, and I graduated. I have my convocation on the 12th of July. Yay! When I tell you the circumstances were so bleak, Brittany, but nothing is real over here. The past is not real. Brittany, nothing is real. I love that. I am so happy and thank you so much for teaching all of this. The greatest gift was finding your channel. Aw, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. And I'm so happy to have you here. Okay. All right. Hi, Brittany. I don't know if you will have the time to read all of this, but I felt inspired to write this to you. Thank you so much for being courageous enough to evolve in your own pace and stray away from conventional manifestation content and not just telling people what they want to hear, instead pointing only to the truth. I am. A little bit of backstory. I was born into a mainstream religion and I've always had a very good life. I always got whatever I wanted because I always surrendered to an external God. In 2021, I discovered subliminals, affirmations, etc., and I transferred God into this character. At that time, I was preparing for a competitive exam, was in love with someone, and was struggling with my weight. So discovering manifestation was seemingly the solution to all my problems. I spent months and months and a lot of money trying to get it right by purchasing subliminals, coaching, and all that stuff. In 2022, I did something so stupid in the name of acting as if, and it completely ruined my reputation and life. And from that emotional turmoil came relationship problems, the weight struggle got worse, and I could not crack the exam despite 3 attempts. Mind you, it's 1 attempt per year. All the while, I was in this loop of affirming, wavering, starting over, purchasing coaching, resisting, circumstances, thoughts, feelings, and it only got worse and worse and worse. The exhaustion of managing life from this character was beyond anything. And finally, by December 2024, my SP got engaged to someone else. That was the final straw, or should have been, but I started affirming more intensely to get him back. With no career, no education, and all the heartbreak, I still resisted the 3D, affirmed, persisted, but as you can imagine, the 3D only got worse every single day. Your old videos and your channel did help soothe the character at the time. But when you started doing I am content, dropping the character, etc., I resisted it 100%. But finally, I was pulled into it. It wasn't instant or magical or anything. The layers peeled off bit by bit, and seeing the ever-present awareness beneath everything as myself was freeing. I let go of the grip on the life the character had dreamt up from her trauma and her pain, but it wasn't a true desire. It was what the character thought would finally stop the pain. The person I thought was the love of my life is now happily married, and watching that without a story was actually the most freeing experience. The weight naturally dropped off of me. There's someone new in my life and it's flowing naturally. And I think a lot about coaches who say, you need to manifest relationships step by step. You need to manage, etc. I rested in awareness, and the relationship just flowed naturally in the most beautiful ways. Better than the best I can imagine is the only way I can describe the flow of awareness. And about my education and career, a natural light desire has been appearing and taking form, and I trust it. And even when negative circumstances appear, I return to awareness and notice how awareness doesn't judge. It doesn't label or narrate a story. And I rest there, and it always makes way for a new delight to appear, just like Rumi said. Yes. I am directly experiencing all the things you used to say in your earliest dropping the character videos, and it's so beautiful. Yes, it really is. Thank you so much, even though I know I am only thanking myself. Love forever. That is so beautiful. Thank you for being so open and vulnerable and sharing your experience. Okay, next one. All right. I had some bodily things going on which had prevented me from living life as much as I have liked. All that has been getting so much better. And 2 weeks ago, I had a strong natural urge to go to the salon to get my nails done. Like I knew I needed to do this. It was it's time kind of feeling. It's something I have always done, but couldn't for the past 2 years. And I felt a little anxious being out in public fully again. But that dissolved quickly. It mostly felt so good. And having my nails done again had me feeling brand new and inspired me to make other appointments that I had also been procrastinating on. And they also worked out even better than I expected. Anything I was concerned about ended up being completely fine. It has been the best ripple effect. I love it. What's even more special, on the day I went and got my nails done, I ran into my older brother, who I haven't spoken to since 2013 and have only seen from a distance in 2017. I've wanted so much for us to reconnect. When he saw me, he gave me the biggest hug, but he was on the phone and seemed in a hurry, so he had to continue his journey. I didn't say too much as I was in shock, but after he left, I kept thinking about how we should have exchanged numbers, and I felt a little disappointed, but I thought, no, if I want his number, then I'll have it. And I just trusted it and booked my Uber to go home. And then on my route home, who did I see? My brother, of course. I told the Uber driver to pull over, and I jumped out and walked with my brother. He told me he missed me and would always wonder how I was doing. And he told me he loves me, and I was able to tell him too. Amazing. We filled each other in on all of the years we've been apart, and we exchanged numbers, of course. And he apologized. Which reminds me, 2 days prior to this, I had a moment naturally arise where I thought about him and decided I didn't need an apology from him. And I'm happy for all of the moments shared with him, but I don't long for the relationship with him anymore. And of course, that's when it showed up. I'm also experiencing a version of the character who loves everything about finance. This is the complete extreme opposite of every version I've experienced before. It's still a little trippy following this. I was also presented an opportunity to give myself way more financial freedom, and I'm having fun with it so far. I'm also experiencing a pivot in my love life, which I'm really enjoying, and the best thing to come out of that is remembering who I am and surrendering to that more consistently. I'm much more present without trying. I don't deny the human experience ever, but I've been less involved with it. I'm having more fulfilling experiences, and I have really practiced not lifting a finger, unless it's natural, which you don't really think about. It just happens. I have loved being back in this place where everything shows up for me and I just get to enjoy it. I also really wanted YouTube Premium because I hate ads, but I didn't want to pay $15 a month for it. Soon after I thought about this, a deal showed up where I could receive it for a whole year for $20. I bought it right away, and 6 months in, something happened where I lost the YouTube Premium. But then I trusted it would work out and they'll probably add on the week I was without it. Well, instead, they gave me it completely free for a whole nother year. So for $20, I received YouTube Premium for 1.5 years. And I get freebies like this all the time. It is so fun. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay. Hey, B. So it happened. For a couple of months, burnout and stress made me completely forget who I am and what was really going on. After your email response, I kept coming back to your email and YouTube videos. I remembered everything. I relaxed. I remembered I'm the one deciding here and started seeing everything as perfect because it is, and it is all happening for me. And now I finally have the update. The company that I was working for closed, and I received 6 months of severance pay. It was the equivalent of about $7K, which gave me some breathing room. I spent the entire month of June simply resting and enjoying life. Then I made my decision. By the end of the month, I would have my perfect job. And suddenly the phone started ringing. I went to so many interviews, mostly just for fun, but everyone wanted to hire me. And then it happened. I got my perfect job. My salary here is double what I was making before. It's hybrid. I have a great schedule, and my coworkers are amazing. And if that wasn't enough, my boyfriend and I are better than we've ever been. He's an incredible boyfriend, my best friend, and we're moving in together. Amazing. I'm so happy for you. Thank you again for everything. Okay. I think this is the last one, guys. All right. Hi, Brittany. I wanted to share some of my recent insights in case you ever wanted to use any of them for a future video. I do. As you know, I've had so many amazing things happen to me over the last couple of years, from graduating nursing school and passing my boards on the first attempt, to being admired by my peers I deeply respect, and having so many beautiful experiences with friends and family. As amazing all of that has been, the biggest thing for me has honestly been the freedom I've started to experience. 100% I agree. A verse, oopsies, went too far. A verse I always bring up with you in sessions is, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. I feel like I'm finally beginning to understand that through experience. The more my focus shifted away from trying to control outcomes or make things happen, and instead toward knowing the truth of who I am, the more things seemed to unfold naturally. I've also realized that you can describe truth all you want and try to understand it intellectually, but until you actually experience it, you don't really know. 100%. The mind wants every answer and complete certainty, but when I stopped trying so hard and allowed things to unfold naturally, so much simply began to make sense. One of my biggest insights has been realizing that the mind, thoughts, emotions, bodily sensations, and what I physically perceive are all still appearances. None of them define who I am, and none of them come with built-in meaning. The mind gives them labels and stories, but that doesn't make those concepts the ultimate truth. Of course, there are still things that I want, and I still enjoy life and get excited about things, but I don't feel as incomplete without them anymore. There is so much more freedom in knowing that all is one, that nothing appearing has the power to define me, and that what I was searching for was never truly separate from me in the first place. Honestly, that freedom has meant more to me than any accomplishment ever could. Thank you always for everything. You're so welcome, and thank you for sharing that with me. So guys, I am going to end it here. Again, thank you all so much for allowing me to share these. I know that, it helps so many people. With that being said, just as I said at the beginning, I don't want you guys to use any of this to compare yourself to search for some hidden meaning or answer in there, because that's not what this is for. First of all, nothing is separate from you, which means the fact that these experiences are appearing within you as awareness means that you are one with these things. So none of this is separate from you. This is not someone else experiencing XYZ and you aren't. These are all available to you here and now. Yeah, that's really all I want to say. I don't want to keep rambling on. I don't want to add to this because I think that these experiences, these emails from you amazing people speak for themselves. So as always, thank you all so much for being here with me. I know I haven't been here for a while, The summer is always very busy for me, guys. Like, my son is going to college. My daughter is going to be starting school in the fall. My other daughter is in high school. So we've just been traveling, spending a lot of time together, just really spending so much time with my family. And yeah, that's just what I want to be doing. So life is busy, but I love it. And I really appreciate you guys for sticking with me. And I just want to also let you know, when I do post, I don't want you to look at it from the perspective of, oh my gosh, there might be a new answer here. It's what I say is the same every time. I say it in different ways, yes, and maybe a different way will make more sense to you, but ultimately this is about you making the decision to investigate for yourself, to start to genuinely look at your experiences and question what the mind is claiming as a fact. When you see that the mind actually has no proof for any of this, the foundation all kind of crumbles. So I love you all so much. I hope you are having an amazing summer, and I will see you soon.